The history of Libya as an Italian colony began in the 1910s and lasted until February 1947, when Italy officially lost all the colonies of the former Italian Empire. It can be divided in two periods. The first from 1911 to 1934 called Italian colonization, and the second from 1934 called Italian Libya. First years. The Italian colonization of Libya started in 1920, when coastal Tripolitania and Cyrenaica were conquered from the Turks. 935. On the 3rd of October 1911, Italy attacked Tripoli, claiming to be liberating the Ottoman wilayads from Istanbul's rule. Despite a major revolt by the Arabs, the Ottoman Sultan ceded Libya to the Italians by signing the 1912 Treaty of Lausanne. Tripoli was largely under Italian control by 1914, but both Cyrenaica and the Fezzan were home to rebellions led by the Senussi. On the 25th of October 1920, the Italian government recognized Sheikh Sidi Idris as the hereditary head of the nomadic Senussi, with wide authority in Kufra and other oases, as Emir of Cyrenaica, a new title extended by the British at the close of World War I. The Emir would eventually become king of the Free Libyan state after World War II. The Italians made extensive use of the Savari, colonial cavalry troops raised in December 1912. These units were recruited from the Arab Berber population of Libya following the initial Italian occupation in 1911–12. The Savari, like the Spahia mounted Libyan police, formed part of the Regio Corpo Truppi Coloniali della Libya. Several reorganizations of the colonial authority were made necessary, in the face of armed Arab opposition, mainly in Cyrenaica. From 1919 to 1929, the Italian government maintained the two traditional provinces, with separate colonial administrations. A system of controlled local assemblies with limited local authority was set up, but was revoked on 9 March 1927. In 1929, Tripoli and Cyrenaica were united as one colonial province. Then in 1934, as Italy wanted to achieve imperial status, the classical name Libya was revived as the official name of the colony. The newly created Libya was then split administratively into 4 provinces: Tripoli, Misrata, Benghazi, and Derna. The Fezzan area was called Territorio Sahara Libico and administered militarily. The Italian colonization of the Ottoman provinces of Tripolitania and Cyrenaica was not initially successful, and it was not until the early 1930s that the Kingdom of Italy took full control of the area. The Italian Governor-Marshal of the Air Force Italo Balbo promoted the birth of the modern state of Libya, and until 1940 favored the integration of Italian emigrants to Libya with the Arab population. He is considered by some Italian historians to be the father of modern Libya. Mussolini in Libya. Fighting intensified after the accession to power in Italy of the dictator Benito Mussolini. The Emir Muhammad Idris fled to Egypt in 1922. From 1922 to 1928, Italian forces under General Badoglio waged a punitive pacification campaign. Badoglio's successor in the field, General Rodolfo Graziani, accepted the commission from Mussolini on the condition that he was allowed to crush Libyan resistance unencumbered by the restraints of either Italian or international law. Mussolini reportedly agreed immediately, and Graziani intensified the oppression. Some Libyans continued to defend themselves, with the strongest voices of dissent coming from the Cyrenaica. Omar Mukhtar, a Senussi sheikh, became the leader of the uprising. After a much disputed truce on 3 January 1928, the Italian policy in Libya reached the level of full-scale War. A barbed wire fence was built from the Mediterranean to the oasis of Jabab to sever lines critical to the resistance. Soon afterwards, the colonial administration began the wholesale deportation of the people of the Jebel Agda to deny the rebels the support of the local population. The forced migration of more than 100,000 people ended in concentration camps in Suluk and El Agila, where thousands died in squalid conditions. It is estimated by Arab historians that the number of Libyans who died, killed in the fighting or through starvation and disease is a minimum of 80,000 people, up to one-third of the Cyrenaican population. Fascist historian Giovanni Gentile claimed that this amount was excessive, and only a few thousands died, mainly of disease and starvation. After al-Mukhtar's capture September 15, 1931 and his execution in Benghazi, the resistance petered out. Limited resistance to the Italian occupation crystallized around the person of Sheikh Idris, the emir of Cyrenaica. By 1934, Libya was fully pacified and the new Italian governor Italo Balbo started a policy of integration between the Libyans and the Italians that proved fully successful. In summer of this year he created the new political entity called the Italian Libya. In March 1937 Mussolini made a state visit to Libya, where he opened a new military highway running the entire length of the colony. For propaganda reasons he had himself declared protector of Islam and was presented with a symbolic sword. Mussolini's publicized encouragement of the Arab nationalist movement suited his wider policies of confronting Britain and France. He also sought to fully colonize Libya, introducing 30,000 Italian colonists, which brought the numbers to more than 100,000. These colonists worshipped primarily to Sahil al-Jafara in Tripolitania and the Jebel Agda in Cyrenaica, and given land from which the indigenous inhabitants had been partially removed during the colonial war in the 1920s. In 1939, laws were passed that allowed Muslims to be permitted to join the National Fascist Party and in particular the Muslim Association of the Lichta, and the 1939 reforms allowed the creation of Libyan military units within the Italian army. As a consequence, during the Second World War, there was strong support for Italy between many Libyans, who were enrolled in the Italian army and the mounted police called Spahi. Indeed, two divisions of Libyan colonial troops were created, one Libyan division Sibyl and two Libyan division Pescatore. The Kingdom of Italy built in Libya nearly 400 kilometers of railways with 950 mm gauge. Since 1912 were imported to Tripoli new trains for some railways being built around Italian Tripoli. The last line the Italians started to create was the Tripoli-Benghazi in summer 1941, but the defeat in World War II stopped it at the beginning. On the 13th of September 1940, Mussolini's highway was used for the invasion of Egypt by Italian forces stationed in Libya. Two divisions of Libyan colonial troops participated in the offensive. Even a battalion of Libyan paratroopers was raised shortly before World War II, the first force of this kind to be created in all Africa. This showed how successful was the process of colonization in Italian Libya. Under the terms of the 1947 peace treaty with the Allies, Italy, which hoped to maintain the colony of Tripolitania, relinquished all claims to Libya. Libya remained united. In July 1998, the Italian government offered a formal apology to Libya. In August 2008, the two nations signed a treaty of friendship in which $5 billion in goods and services, including the construction of the Libyan portion of the Cairo-Tunis highway, would be given to Libya to end any remaining animosity. Civic development. The Italians in less than 30 years built huge public works, allowing the the Libyan economy to flourish to a level unseen since the time of the Roman Empire. Italian farmers cultivated lands that had been lost to the desert for centuries. Even archaeology flourished. Leptis Magna was rediscovered in the 1920s and viewed as a symbol of the Italian right to colonize the region. Libya was considered the new America for Italian immigrants in the 30s. The Italian population numbered 108,419 at the time of the 1939 census, concentrated on the coast around the city of Tripoli and Benghazi. In 1938, Marshal of the Air Force Italo Balbo, the governor, brought 20,000 Italian farmers to colonize Libya, and 26 new villages were founded by them, mainly in Cyrenaica. The 22,000 Libyan Jews were allowed to integrate without problems in the society of the Fourth Shore. Mussolini sought to assimilate the Arabs of Libya, and so in 1939 10 villages were created for Arabs and Berbers: El Faga, Nahima, Azizia, Nahiba, Manshura, Chadra, Zahara, Gedana, Mamura, El Baida. All these new villages had the mosque, school, social center and small hospital. This was a reward for the military performance of the Libyan colonial troops. In 1936, Savaris and other Libyan units took part in the Italian invasion of Ethiopia and received a Gold Medal of Honor for their distinguished performance in battle on January 9, 1939. The colony was incorporated into metropolitan Italy and thereafter considered an integral part of the Italian state. By 1939, the Italians had built 400 kilometers of new railroads and 4,000 kilometers of new roads. Even during World War II, a new road was being built, the Via della Vittoria, and a new Tripoli-Benghazi railway. All the Italian projects disappeared after the Italian defeat. Libya in the late 40s experienced the beginning of the worldwide process of decolonization that characterized colonies of Europe in the 50s and 60s. Bibliography: Chapman Metz, Helen. Libya, A Country Study. Washington, GPO for the Library of Congress, 1987. Forster, Robert. The Italian Emigration of Our Times. Air Publishing. Manchester, 1969. ISBN 0-40500522-9. Smeaton Munro, Ion. Through Fascism to World Power, A History of the Revolution in Italy. Air Publishing. Manchester, 1971. ISBN 0-8369-5912-4. Tucci, May, Urkel. La Banca d'Italia in Africa. Forward by Arnaldo Mauri. Editore Latizia, Bari, 1999. ISBN 88-420-5686-3.